Hello, friends. Welcome to Light Up the Holidays. This week, we're going to be talking about the holiday of Christmas. Now, I know Christmas is a very popular holiday here in the United States. We celebrate it on December 25th, and we have lots of fun traditions. I know my family likes to get together to celebrate. We make a big meal. We decorate a Christmas tree. We decorate our house with lights. And then Christmas Eve, a special someone named Santa Claus comes to visit and leaves presents under the tree. And he is one of the most famous traditions of the Christmas holiday. And that is what our book is going to be about. So let's dive right in and go visit the North Pole and watch the famous Santa get ready for Christmas. The Polar Express. Written and illustrated by Chris Van Allsburg. On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend had told me I'd never hear. The ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There is no Santa, my friend had insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I did hear sounds, though not of ringing bells. From outside came the sound of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell silently around it. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his vest. Then he looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and robe. I tiptoed downstairs and out the door. "All aboard!" the conductor cried out. I ran up to him. "Well," he said, "are you coming?" "Where?" I asked. "Why, to the North Pole, of course," was his answer. "This is the Polar Express." I took his outstretched hand and he pulled me aboard. The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and we ate candies and nougat centers and white as snow. We drank hot cocoa as thick and rich as melted chocolate bars. Outside, the light of towns and villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced northward. Soon there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through cold, dark forests where lean wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. We climbed mountains so high it seemed as if we would scrape the moon. But the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. The mountains turned into hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed the barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea. "There," said the conductor, "is the North Pole." The North Pole. It was a huge city standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first we saw no elves. "They are gathering at the center of the city," the conductor told us. "That is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas." Who receives the first gift? We all asked. The conductor answered, He will choose one of you. Look, shouted one of the children, the elves! Outside we saw hundreds of elves. As our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole, we slowed to a crawl. So crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no further, we stopped and the conductor led us outside. We pressed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They pranced and paced, ringing the silver sleigh bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical sound like nothing I'd ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and, pointing to me, said, Let's have this fellow right here. He jumped into his sleigh. The conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee, and he asked, Now, what would you like for Christmas? I knew that I could have any gift I could imagine, but the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one silver bell from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled. Then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from the reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa. He stood, holding the bell high above him, and called out, The first gift of Christmas! A clock struck midnight, and the elves roared their approval. Santa handed the bell to me, and I put it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out the reindeer's name and cracked his whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled above us, then disappeared in the cold, dark polar sky. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see the bell. I reached into my pocket, but the only thing I felt was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa Claus's sleigh. Let's hurry outside and look for it, one of the children said. But the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving. We were on our way home. It broke my heart to lose the bell. When the train reached my house, I sadly left the other children. I stood at my doorway and waved goodbye. The conductor said something about the moving train, but I couldn't hear him. What? I yelled out. He cupped his hand around his mouth. Merry Christmas, he shouted. The Polar Express let out a loud blast from its whistle and sped away. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one last small box behind the tree. It had my name on it. Inside was the silver bell. There was a note. Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix that hole in your pocket. Signed, Mr. C. I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my sister and I had ever heard. But my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." "Yes," my father said, "it's broken." When I'd shaken the bell, my parents had not heard a sound. At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell, but as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me, as it does for all who truly believe. The Night Before Christmas by Jan Brett. A poem by Clement Moore. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. A mamma in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there rose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eye should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk. And laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew, like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Now it is time for our Christmas craft. Today we will be making a Christmas ornament. If you picked up your kit, you were provided with a Christmas ornament made of foam. This particular one is a mitten, but some of them are Santa Claus, some are reindeer or wreaths. There's a whole variety, so whichever one you got, you can decorate however you want. Now, if you didn't get a craft, you can just as easily make your own Christmas ornaments. You can cut them out of construction paper. You could cut a Christmas tree and poke a hole in it and tie it after you've decorated it with beautiful marker or glitter or whatever scraps you have around the house. So you can make Christmas decorations out of anything and everything. But today we are using the kits that I provided in your craft kit bag for Light Up the Holidays. Mine is a mitten, and we can go about this a couple ways. Some of them have the circle cutouts available so you can put a beautiful picture of yourself in it for your family to remember this Christmas. Or you can cut it out, see, pop it out like this, boop, and you can make a picture and put in there as well. So whichever you want to do, or you can just decorate this one without that one. I am going to make a little picture and put it in mine. Now to make a picture to put behind the circle, you just need a piece of paper, and you might want to draw a circle to outline where your picture is going to show through the hole. You want to make a beautiful picture that doesn't show up. And so then draw your picture in there. I'm just going to do a heart. Like that. Color it in. Like this. And then I'm going to write Merry Christmas on it, I believe, with the date, which is the year. So that would be 2020. I'm going to color in my heart. It's a little lopsided, and that's okay. Nothing's perfect. A little wabi-sabi in your life is beautiful. All right, so there's our heart, and I'm going to write Merry Christmas. I'm making sure I stay in that circle, because otherwise it won't show up through our other circle. So let's see. Merry Christmas 2020. All right. So now it will show up like that. And these wonderful things have stickies on them. So we just pull the stickies off. And this, oof, it's very sticky. Okay, this is silly. All right, I'm going to put this down. And then I'm going to line it up oh so carefully, like so. And then I'm going to line, and so now it's, see how sticky it is? It's stuck just like that. I didn't even stick it down. And now I'm going to line it up to the mitten and stick it to this. And you know what? If it's a little off, that's fine. Just try to line up the sides. There we go. I have my picture in there ready to rock and roll. And now we can decorate with the provided decorations. It has a little liner here. There we go. What else do I want to do? I want to decorate all the dots. Or do I just want to go, I'm just going to go all the way around my mitten. See, now if you don't do the picture and you just have the mitten, you have more to decorate. But you might not have a mitten. You might have a Santa Claus or a wreath or something else. So you decorate it however you would like. Like I said, like I always say, it's your craft and your creation, and you decorate it however you want to, my friends. Here we go. These are very handy because they just peel off. Christmas stickers, how delightful. I don't think I like how that, watch. And that's okay though, because look, I can just peel that off and move it around. No big deal. Actually, let me do that again. I like to move my colors around. There. And now, when you're all done decorating, there's a little hole at the top that you can push out with a pen or paper clip. Just push through like so. And then we put our string through. Might not want to go through. Mine doesn't, so I'm going to put it over there and stick it back through with my pen. See how it comes out the other side? Kind of? Yes. There we go. And then we tie our string. In a knot. Voila! We have our your very own homemade Christmas ornament to hang on your Christmas tree. Now don't stop here. Like I said, you can make Christmas ornaments with so many different things. So use your imaginations and let me see what you come up with. Have a very Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.